to another episode. We thought...
I think this one is a little bit more of a raw one. I think we were literally discussing behind the scenes. We were going into our own little debate and chat.
And we thought we'd just put the camera back on.
Yeah,
and film
about marketing, about social media.
Yeah.
And also about this podcast. What does our podcast also look like in that kind of area?
Yeah.
We're both so new to this, you know. We're very much creative people, and I think we're just like discussing what does that look like with, I guess, our brand.
Yeah.
But we've never really
saw
it like that, you know.
I think it's like, because we've been talking about it, and I think because we just filmed another episode, and like social media influence came up in it, and we've just been talking about like trying to build like a plan, like what does this look like, just for us to be a bit more prepared. And it just made me think, this is like, okay, like, is it even possible to brand someone as an individual? Because I think that's the biggest thing that I'm struggling with this.
I think we're so used to seeing brands as like a company.
Yeah.
Like an item or a company. I think it's really hard for just everyday people to understand that a person can be a brand, and what is that, and what does that look like, you know? And I guess to an outsider that can become or seem ungenuine, because who are you behind that?
Yeah.
You know? And I don't know if a person can be a brand. They can. But that's like that's a character.
Yeah. But this is the thing, but that's essentially the society that we're living in at the moment, when you're seeing people that become social media influencers and they call that their job, but the way that they've become these influencers is initially because of a level of authenticity. And then my question always is like, once you gain a certain amount of followers or a certain amount of fame or a certain amount of like income or revenue from what you're doing online, like, where do you lose your authenticity? Because my question goes back to, we were talking about this like aesthetics, and you know, I've got different people that create different types of accounts and have a certain type of aesthetics, and the specific aesthetic that always makes me think is like the ones that have these like super like hyper organized houses with like these like, and they do these videos,
the restock thing,
the reset or the restock like people. And to my mind, it's like, if social media wasn't their job or their income, would they actually consistently follow this type of lifestyle, or have they created this type of lifestyle because it's become their income?
100% the second one.
You know?
You know damn well a person is not buying all of these things and then getting all of these containers, washing it out, putting that, like, that's so much work for one person. And I see some of, like, yes, it aesthetically does look nice, but I tried it once myself, and I was like, this cannot be my life. No way can this be my life. One, it's wasteful. You're using, like, you're getting rid of packages and putting it into another package, which doesn't make sense, just for it to look good, you know? And two, the restocking, the buying, the organisation, and it's all for what? Pointless. There's no actually really real reason for you to do that. So 100% these influencers that do something like that are doing it for obviously an aesthetic, you know, and it's not actually genuine. Because
I'm also thinking like an everyday person, because they say like, oh, this is what I do, this is my restock day and things, and it's like, is this actually realistic?
Like, because a day, you talk about a day in your life.
Yeah, a day in your life. And then the most unrealistic thing, like, I, as a visual person, like, the aesthetic, I love it. It looks great. In my mind, I was like, I want to be this person, you know, because it's just cute.
That's toxic, though.
Yeah,
because
like,
it's unrealistic. You want to become something that they're not even doing.
Yeah, because that's hyper unrealistic. But you have these people, the eye straw. You know, the ice
love
cube,
heart ices, the circle ices, the square ices, the star ices, the Christmas ices,
the colourful ices. And you
For
give
what?
all these different types of ice cubes, and then they make their little like fun drink. And I'm just like, in my mind, I was like, this looks really cute. I love watching these videos because there's something peaceful about them and calming. But the reality is like, I can't live like that. I've got too much to do. I forget to go to appointments. I'm not going to be organised enough to remember, oh, I'm nearly running out of ice. Today I need to make sure that all my ice trays are like filled up. And then I need to remember to take all my ice out of those trays and then organise them really nice and neatly in the drawer. It's just like, and there's children that grew up in this.
It can be like an inspiration for like a party, for example, like how to set up like an event or a party.
Yeah,
you know,
event.
you can do like different ices and stuff like that. But for an everyday lifestyle, that aesthetic is.
Sorry. We just heard a noise outside our window.
It sounded like someone got shot.
I know.
I think it was just a car backfiring.
Yeah.
Back to my thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't think it's realistic for someone's everyday lifestyle to be doing that. And I think where does that go? And yeah, we were just talking about it relating to us. Like,
well, it's because these people, like, when I go onto these accounts and stuff, you can tell, like, it's a very specific aesthetic. It's a certain type of branding. Okay, that's a specific niche on the social media. You know, you've got the people that do the organising, whatever. But then you have people that have a different aesthetic. And you've got people that basically build a following and an income from day in my life. And then at what point does it become a curated day in my life because you're trying to make it interesting
people do. And I've watched YouTubers that say, like, this isn't what I would usually do, but I did it just for this video. And it's like...
But then where is...
It's not...
Yeah, it's not authentic anymore,
That's not a day in your life, that's a day in your fake life.
Yeah! That's a day in your TV show that you've created to make money.
But I think that's marketing, though, as well. And I think that's what we're trying to get our heads around is... In marketing, you have to, we were just talking about it, you have to kind of do things what people would like to see rather than what you actually do and what you want to do.
Yeah.
And I think I really struggle with that mindset because
Same.
anything that we do for SistasnSync, it's what we like to do. And like maybe that's like naive and not the right track. So anyone in marketing or whatever is probably gonna be like, oh my god.
Like, get all over the place. There is no structure.
Yeah, but like I don't know. I feel like we're raw people, and I feel like we like to be as genuine as possible. And just because a camera is on, we're not gonna change ourselves, you know, for a likability of someone else. And I think as someone that consumes the social media and the internet, I actually do like to see genuine and raw people because it gives me a sense of connection.
Yeah.
Like I can get sucked into something that's fake and, you know, not authentic. And there's something after, it just makes me feel weird. I know people that there are influencers, I wouldn't say influencers, I think like travel people who are really real and raw. Sheldon watches like a YouTuber and he doesn't really edit much out. It's just him, this guy, and he travels like around the world. And he basically brings people on his journey.
Yeah.
And there was a part of the video where he snotted and he kept the snot in there, you know, and that's disgusting, you know, but that's a human thing, that's real. And I think I like that type of real raw content because it just gives you, it brings you back to earth, you know, and it doesn't make you feel like, I don't know, everything is perfect.
Yeah. And I was just like, I think, but it's... it's a very big sigh. Because... I I'm the same. I think I really struggle with this because like I'm always torn between two sides of like, okay, I've done my marketing, I've done like my graphics design, and so as a creative who kind of learned how to do creativity from a business perspective, like that sometimes comes in. But then because we're putting ourselves out there, I'm just like, also, I don't really want to worry about that. I just want to be me.
But who says we don't have to be? Like,
Huh?
who says we don't have to be ourselves? And I think that's what we were talking about. Like, we create videos because we enjoy them. You know, it's something that we like. We're just showing ourselves. And I think that's why I like doing podcasts, because when we talk, we're actually talking about things that we actually talk about behind cameras. These are the conversations that we actually have.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes this more genuine and more raw. So when we do our marketing, we do our social media, like everything is real. And I feel like we don't have to get influenced and leap into something that's ungenuine. Why do we have to? We just need to.
But then there's also the question though, isn't there, like because you've had this question, because in my mind I've been like, oh, we'll just do it and then we'll just figure it out. But then you've also said in our conversations, like, yeah, but we also need to put a plan because we want people to find us and to view us. So it's like we almost have to think about, like, how are we going to attract people to what we're doing? And I even struggle with that mindset because I'm like, either you find us or you don't. But I realise we're in a world of algorithms.
I think there's strategies on how people can find us and, connect to like the things that we talk about, but I don't think we can be ungenuine by doing that. I think we can strategize and structure ourselves to make it make sense and it not be chaotic, and for us to be consistent.
I feel like that's part of us. But I don't know. I feel like the chaos in itself, because we are just figuring out, makes it more authentic.
Yeah, but like, I don't know, when I say, for example, I came to you and I was like, I think our social media has to connect with things that we talk about on this thing. That's not ungenuine, that's just organising something,
Yeah.
It's not creating ungenuine things that we don't talk about, we don't care about, it's all the things that we do care about. It's just, I came to you with that, and again, I guess it's businessy and markety, it just needs to make more sense for someone else to understand where our podcast and where we're at,
Yeah.
I would like, I hope and I
but
would...
you have more experience in this space, because for me social media has always just been expression.
Girl, I'm figuring this out. Like, I don't feel like I have a lot of experience.
No, but you have more experience because you've done other stuff. You've worked on other projects and you've built something on that. Like, if you look at my personal Instagram, it's just self-expression. There's no rhyme. There's no reason. There's no strategy.
Yeah.
It's just my page and the things that I like.
Yeah.
Even on my stories at the moment, I'm sharing a lot of stuff, and it's literally just things that I find interesting, things that I connect. I literally have no strategy, no nothing. I've tried the strategy, didn't work, because I would try it for like, maybe it would last a week. I was like, this doesn't feel right. Forget about it.
Yeah.
And I'm also trying to, and I think this is why I was saying, like, when you were coming, it's like, I really don't have any like clear ideas, because that's not how I use social media.
This is about like any kind of like social media content you're talking about.
Yeah, like, because that's not how I use social media. Like, I guess I'm not someone that creates content. I'm someone that just consumes content on social media.
Yeah,
that's the reality.
And I think that shifts you from making content. That shifts you from just using taking from social media and then you using social media.
Yeah.
Like, for our podcast, we're using social media to our advantage, and that's like the business side of it.
Yeah.
But you're used to just consuming social media.
Yeah.
So like, how do you in your brain make that shift?
Yeah.
But make it as
authentic,
real and authentic as possible.
Yeah.
And that's just what we're trying to figure out as two people.
Because I think you come from a perspective of of having used social. You have some experience of using social media.
I think
to build something.
The reason why I come with ideas, I think I always see myself on the other end. So what does it look like as me viewing SistasnSync podcast? And that's why I come with these ideas, because I think, okay, what are people actually seeing? You know, from the other end, rather than me just posting and putting like stuff out there that however I feel like it. What other people think? Does that make sense? How does it relate? You know, and I think it does. Just because you have a structure around something doesn't make it ungenuine or unauthentic.
Yeah, I think we just have different mindsets, because I think I come from the mindset of like, I'm a creator, so I'm just gonna create, and then it
I
is
think
what it
that's
is.
why we make a good team. Do you know what I mean? Because like maybe I didn't realize, but maybe I do have more of a marketing mindset that I didn't even know I had. I was like, marketing, what's that?
Yeah, but you do.
But maybe I think I'm an analyzer. A little bit, but
that you need that for being able to build a marketing strategy. And I think, whereas I guess I come from a perspective of even me having done like my graphics design degree, it's like I'm an artist. More than anything.
You like to curate.
Like I'm just a creator. Like whatever I create, like that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't really think necessarily. Like, it depends on what it is, but it's not necessarily as deep. In terms of like, okay, what's the audience? To be fair, in a graphic sense, when I was doing my degree, like, this is the audience, this is the piece, so create something, and this is the brief, kind of thing. But when when it's like social media and you're doing marketing, you're trying to build a following, like you need to even understand your audience. I was like, but in my mind, it's just like, well, it's whoever watches.
Yeah.
I don't know who the audience is.
And I think there's a balance to that. Like, there's generally some influencers out there, they don't care who watches. They're generally doing it because they enjoy it. And consistency, like, I think is actually quite key. Like, some people will just grasp onto your personality and like your personality, you know? Yeah. So I think there's a balance. I think there's a balance to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything that we need to, I guess, worry about. I think we're just worrying about, we don't want to become like the new Gen Zs, like what they're doing within social media, like who are they? There is a brand, and they struggle to kind of like keep that, I guess.
But I think it's also like it's also like I guess I'm thinking from a perspective of, if this goes somewhere, who knows, you know? Like, I'm not doing it. Oh, okay. See, this is where my mindset's completely different. It's like, if it does.
No. When?
Like, I guess I think it's because I'm doing it as for an experience more than anything. And so it's like I guess the thought that I also had is like, will we change if there is a following and we do all start to have to answer to maybe like brands or whatever, will that have an influence on how we do this, how we conduct ourselves? Because I feel like sometimes you can kind of see the shift in what I've experienced anyways, when I've seen there's a specific social media creator. I've watched her from when she started to who she is now, and it's been really interesting like to see when like different like shifts have happened, where it became of like, okay, I'm just building something, to okay, this is now my job, and then being at the heights of obviously also like societal changes of this being like a very new job or income, to her like having to keep changing and shifting with like what is kind of like expected of new content creators and things like that, to her now finding her new voice as like a mother after like at the end of a crisis, and her even being even more authentic now on her platform, than like, this is me, this is my fashion, blah blah blah, but this is me as a mom. And also I had this unhinged thought today, like trying to be real, But it's like, it's very interesting to kind of see someone's evolvement
and
in this kind of space.
And I think people that view someone, they have to realise that person is going to evolve.
Yeah.
Like, I understand people when they're like, oh, I don't connect with that person anymore because they've changed so much. Like, for example, what's her name? The one that did Jackie Aina.
Yeah.
Like, from when she first started YouTube, so how she is now, like, in my
Her life
opinion,
change has
quite
changed.
very different.
Yeah.
You know, her content is different, her lifestyle is different, you know, and it's not as raw, and I guess people don't connect with it the same as, you know, as it is now. I think, yes, you do need to keep a sense of yourself and your authenticity and how much you're willing to change yourself for a brand deal and all of those things, but we also need to realize that as someone's career progresses, they're not going to be exactly the same. Like, content might not be exactly the same, and it's whether you want to ride with that person or you don't. You're more than welcome to leave, but I think some people get a lot of bashing for their content to change. It's really about the person. Has that person's values, has that person's ideas and everything changed? Does that look really unnatural and fake to you?
But then it goes back to why did we connect with YouTube in the beginning so much, especially these first YouTube influencers? And I think initially it was very much like, oh, it's everyday people that are just like me.
Exactly.
And now, because it's kind of blown up and it's become this huge industry in itself, and it's actually a career
and I think that's what people struggle with.
Before it was like, oh, I'm just putting something out there. I'm a creative. And I think that's like that shift.
People went on there to connect with a community. It was relatable content. You were just an average day person. Now it's, like you said, an industry, a business. That is definitely 100% gonna change, like how people view something, and how people, I guess, do their content. It's just like something that's like something that's obviously underground. It's like underground music. Like, it's raw, it's authentic, it's relatable, popular music, and then there is a shift and a change. But I think you can be a genuine yourself, you know, yourself as a person, even with a lot of followers and a lot of likes. I think it's just how you show yourself and how you are, and staying true to something about you.
I think at this moment in time, as we're still working, like going on this journey, and just like figuring this project out, I guess. Like, I think I guess I'm still figuring out the ethics on personal branding within that. You know? Like,
what are your fears? Like, what are your worries?
I think my biggest fear is like losing myself, like losing who I am for the sake of like a perceived fame.
And how do you think you'll do that? Do you think you're easily influenced? Do you think you're how do you feel like you would essentially lose yourself with? I don't know. I think it's always a possibility. Like, I do feel like I am influenced, probably less so easily than maybe in the past. But I guess it's also like when you get used to a certain level of comfortability, because I guess that's the reality. A lot of people that now go into like social media and stuff, they're going into it because they think, oh, there's big money to be made. Especially so the money is the forefront, and that's their driving force. That becomes the driving force. Because once they get a taste of that, they get a taste of that, and it shows them a certain kind of lifestyle that they can have. People start chasing the money, and that's my biggest fear. I think that's the conversation of the money, though. You don't have to be on social media to lose yourself when money's in front of your eyes. You could be like for example, a business person or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's what I'm
You know,
saying.
you could create some, like, for example, a natural soap with all of these natural nice ingredients in it. That could be your first project. And the more money you get, and the more greedy you may get, you may change your formula and put, like, chemicals and stuff in it because you know it's cheaper and you can get more money, you know? That's how someone can change yourself in the influence of money. So I guess it's staying true to your values and what you actually believe in.
Yeah.
And if you stick with that, you've got your faith. You surround yourself with people that, you know, are genuine, lovely people who can keep you grounded, you know? It's about those things that are actually very important that can keep you on the straight and narrow.
Like, it's not a fear that's like that's keeping me up at night. It's just more like it's more of like a what if, you know? What does it like? It's more of like a what if, really and truly. I think I like to think about that because, in some sense, also it's like it's in the hope that it would ground me, and it's also for me to kind of keep reflecting on how do I keep showing up in the world as myself in every space that I find myself in, and that I know that I don't feel like I have to curate myself to fit into certain spaces or kind of try and fit into what the audience or whatever like is perceiving me to be. But I feel like we don't have enough of these conversations in even these spaces because everyone's trying to protect their money, protect their
ourselves on social media, how we can protect ourselves from a bad influence. We don't talk about that, so that's quite interesting.
Maybe that's another topic for us to go into. This was literally just a discussion, but we realised like there was some key things. So let us know what you think. Let us know your thoughts. If you've been in this game for a long time, let us know your tips, tricks, advice, things to do, not to do. We would appreciate it, truly, because at the end of the day, like, this is us. We're just here.
We're just real people chatting, and we're passionate about the topics that we talk about, and even with our own conversations, we get heated, we get passionate, you know, and we also want to just make a change within ourselves. That's why we actually started this podcast. Like, I know I did anyways, to influence myself in a positive way. So. That's just what we're trying to do, and hopefully you can come along with us.
Come along on the ride with us.
Thank you for watching this episode.
Thank you.
Bye.
Sweet, I'm so tired of you treating me this way.